Welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast, your weekly dose of what's new and what's nude in movies, TV, and Hollywood's sexiest stars. Now get ready for your host, the world's foremost authority on celebrity nudity, Mr. Skin.
The legendary Mr. Skin.
Mr. Skin. Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast, from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts, Mr. Skin and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 176 of the Mr. Skin Podcast, sponsored by Stream8.com, the global leader in live streaming, with the hottest porn stars and amateurs broadcasting live directly from their bedroom to yours. Stream8 creates a totally unique and intimate experience where you get to direct the show however you want. With an endless variety of performers, you're sure to find your perfect match on Stream8.com. The question is, are you ready? Hey Skin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Andrea, how are you?
Fantastic. Just, once again mesmerized that we're on episode 176 of this show that just can't quit. It's like the content doesn't stop rolling in, and it's just as fun every week. So I'm super stoked to be here today.
Yeah, we didn't last week. We had a top 10 list, so I got a ton of stuff to get to today. I did want to mention I doubt you, like me, were shoveling 6 inches of snow this morning.
No, definitely not.
What's the temperature there where you are?
Let me open up my weather app. Hold on. So good. I don't even need to know. Where is it? Let's see. Right now it is 70 and sunny.
It was almost 69 and sunny. Yeah. God, can you imagine? So anyway, yeah, but with the fires, it's a degree warmer than it should be. So are those fires anywhere near you?
No, I mean, relatively close, but not close enough that they are affecting me. I do have a couple people just close to me saying that they're having a little bit more allergies lately, but
really?
It's far enough away and I'm close enough to the water that it doesn't really affect me directly. But I do feel so horrible for those people. It's just, it seems to be never ending. Once one fire is gone, you go a few months and there's another one. So, know.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy because we watch it on TV and it is so different. I mean, there's that you guys are dealing with, and then we get 6 inches of snow. I saw a plane landed at O'Hare and slid off the runway today in Chicago.
What?
So I know it's just like, listen, I'm not comparing 6 inches of snow to what's going on with you guys, but still, it's just crazy that the difference. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
And when we hit November, it's kind of depressing in Chicago because you got November, December, January, February. Like, we're guaranteed 4 months of shit weather,
See, I can't relate.
It's like, and we're at the very beginning of it. Yeah. And it literally, and really, I say March, but it lasts through April. It's really 5 months. So anyway, but I know what'll warm you up or warm me up is nudity. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to go through. If you're new to the Mr. Skin Podcast, we go through all the movie and television nudes for the week, and there's so much, as you know. And let me start with a brand new show that I'm really digging the concept of this. I've watched a little bit. I haven't watched full episodes yet, but it's really intriguing and super sexy to me, and I think you may agree.
Okay.
It's called Mrs. Fletcher on HBO. And it stars Kathryn Hahn. And people would know her from the movie. Yeah, I love her. She's in the movie Bad Moms. And she was on a television show called Crossing Jordan. She's a great actress. But here's what's the turn on to me. She's like a 40-something mom, which in my world now, I can relate to, like a suburban mom, Right. And the thing is, she's like, the cool thing, she's divorced, and she recently sent her son to college, so she's home alone. She's had one kid, and she kind of tries to reinvent herself through not only dating, but what's really wild, she discovers online porn.
Oh,
and
really?
She just keeps getting super turned on. It's
good
really really sexy show. Because, like, for instance, In the second episode I was watching, Kathryn Hahn is with her son away. She's doing her grocery shopping for herself. She's in the grocery store and she runs into this girl that's passing out samples, played by Tanya Khalil, who is an unknown actress, but boy, did they choose a great, actress for this, because she has these incredibly perky breasts. They put her in no bra. She's wearing a t-shirt. So Kathryn Hahn looks at her and all of a sudden starts fantasizing that they're going at it, because she's been looking at all this porn. It is so hot, Andrea. You'd love this stuff.
Now, is this show a comedy or is it a drama? I can't tell.
Yeah, it's a comedy, definitely. Cool. Well, it's not I don't want to call it a comedy like, you're laughing your ass off type of stuff.
But it's funny.
It deals with like serious issues. It's called a comedy drama. But,
okay. A dramedy, Skin.
Okay, a dramedy. So when I first was flipping channels, I see this scene. So now I'm like really intrigued. So I keep watching. And later in the second episode, and like I said, there are 3 episodes in. Last night was their 3rd episode. So later in the episode, she gets set up on a date. And she's kind of nervous about it. And she meets this guy who is a sharp guy. He's got a nice career, and she just isn't into it. And she's at dinner, so she just excuses herself, gets up from the date. And I guess I'm not 100% sure where she works, but she works some sort of school where she helps, so some sort of counseling or something. Okay. And, or maybe it's a nursing home or something. So she goes back to the nursing home and they have a pool and no one's there. It's nighttime. She strips completely naked. We're talking Kathryn Hahn here. Strips completely naked. And it's her, and no body double used, and jumps in the pool. And it's just so freaking hot. It's just so freaking hot, the scene. And it looks like all natural Kathryn Hahn. Like, that doesn't look like a merkin either.
No,
wouldn't that merkin that'd be floating around?
This is all natural, 100% her, 100% naked. I'm actually really digging this blue light that's on her from, being in a pool. It's very unique. It's so not often that we see such clear, vivid, full-frontal nudity underwater. I'm kind of blown away.
Andrea, we call that submerged burger, and I'm testing some new names too. But I love submerged burger, and some of the famous moments in celebrities underwater. I mean, there was Nicole Kidman and Billy Bathgate, full frontal underwater. Rebecca Romaine in Femme Fatale is another great one. But the king of submerged burger is definitely Juliette Lewis in a 2004 movie called Renegade. Happens at the hour and 50-minute mark.
Oh, yes.
You could see this. You're literally looking at lips as she's, like, the camera's under her as she's coming down. And it's, to me, the all-time greatest submerged burger. But looking back at the Kathryn Hahn, I'm going to try it. I'm testing a new one for the Anatomy Awards. She's definitely going to win something for this underwater nude scene. But I'm testing chlorinated clamage.
I don't know about that one.
Chlorinated clamage. I'm working it.
No one wants to think about a chlorinated cooch. You know what I mean? Well, we'll keep playing with it.
Yeah. So anyway, it's Kathryn Hahn, full frontal nudity, just great pool porn, but great nudity. And there was even a thing I should mention too, that the son at college meets up with this girl that you never heard of. Gabrielle Hespe's her name, and they have sex. It's a distant shot, but you see her naked. So in last night, there was a scene, Andrea, where Kathryn Hahn is in the kitchen and she sees this really hot porn site. She gets on the floor of the kitchen in just like a t-shirt, no bra, and underwear, and is like masturbating on the floor, like laying on her stomach, like watching their computer on the ground. It's so freaking hot. So anyway.
This sounds awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for giving me another show recommendation.
Yeah, it's really, and like I said, as a guy from the suburbs who knows a lot of 40-something women with kids in college, it makes it, to me, it's like extra sexy for some reason. So anyway, so the show's called Mrs. Fletcher, and great start, 3 episodes in. She has a empty nest now, and as you can see, Andrea, a full bush, so very good stuff.
I love it.
Anyway, now there's another big show that if you're a guy out there that watches football, or if you've been watching any television, you've probably seen heavy advertisements for a show called Watchmen on HBO.
I've been watching this.
Oh, have you been watching it? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm interested to see what you think. What's your, well, I should mention to people out there. So the Watchmen, it's set in like an alternate history where these masked, they're like vigilantes. They're treated, as outlaws. And it's just, there was a graphic novel of the same name. And I remember there was a Watchmen movie in 2009 that was based on this novel where Malin Ackerman did a great nude scene. But anyway, the show's 4 episodes in, and last night they had a really good nude scene with Sara Vickers, who is a British actress. I think she's Jeremy Irons' assistant, or she works for him in some way, shape, or
like
form.
Like a servant.
Yeah, and the show's, even though it's called Watchmen, it doesn't stick to the book or the comic book like it could, but that's fine. But it's just got a lot of great. I've just seen a lot of advertising for this, and the first 3 episodes were kind of skingy, and then last night this girl was full frontal. And fans of there's a British detective show called Endeavour where Sara Vickers is one of the detectives, and it was kind of cool for her to get full frontal in the thing. And it was like a birthing thing, and I don't want to ruin it for people that like me that haven't watched, but as I understood it, they were in a machine where you start as a baby and then it grows. I guess you grow into an adult or something.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Is that what it was? Yeah.
The thing that was cool about this scene was, imagine like a microwave that with like a lazy Susan inside that spins around and around. They keep spinning her around and around.
Oh, really?
And so you're just like, oh, there she is again, full frontal. Oh, there she is again.
Yeah,
and
okay, good.
I'll tell you what, her titties are so good. I actually thought they were fake. I thought, because you don't know what's going on in the scene as a viewer. Mm-hmm. You don't realize what's happening. And so you almost think, is this claymation? Is this CGI? Is this a model of someone? Until you realize, it's someone that they just grew to full scale. And I thought her boobs were fake. They were so perfect. I thought she was a mannequin.
So she's spinning around, so it's like 360-degree nudity, almost like in the window. Yeah. You
in
see
the window,
front.
yeah. And she's in there with someone else, we'll say, and you also get some full frontal of something else.
Some dick swinging.
It's a big one.
I'm looking at the picture. Yeah, I see that. Jeez Louise.
Mr. Man. I feel so
That's
bad.
Mr. Man
for
stuff.
For guys that are growers, not showers, when they see these big swinging dogs, when this guy's just totally limp biscuit. Because that's not normal, or it's not average. The average guy isn't, his limp dick isn't that big.
Yeah, so you think he was chubbed up a little as for the scene?
Maybe,
okay.
I don't know. It just seemed
if I was in that thing with Sara Vickers, I'd be chubbed up. There's no question about it. So anyway, the show is called Watchmen. They're 4 episodes in, and now they added nudity to the mix. So we'll be keeping track of that one. And anyway, like I said, if you basically had to be shut off of television and social media to not know that show was on. So anyway, also while we were gone, Andrea, the Deuce wrapped up their 3rd and final season. And Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, and we're going to miss this show. Maggie Gyllenhaal, who, by the way, is the executive producer of the show. And how many executive producers of television shows also do nudity in them? And it was kind of a fitting goodbye that she did the last great nude scene of probably one of the best shows ever, pound for pound. They only did 3 seasons. It's not like Game of Thrones length, but pound for pound, man, this is one of the best shows for nudity ever, about the sex and porn business, New York City, 70s and 80s, and definitely going to miss that show. And by the way, shout out to Maggie Gyllenhaal, turns 43 years old this weekend.
Get it, girl. Yeah.
So we'll see what's next for her. But
she's a rock
they had
star.
so many great nude scenes. Also, definitely in my Hall of Fame television shows for nudity, for sure, the Deuce.
Absolutely, yeah. Sad to see it go, but so proud of the consistency with the nudity. And like you said, the level, the caliber, like what EP gets fully naked, gets banged out in scenes, only she. I can't think of any other.
Pound for pound and mound for mound.
Yes.
One of the great shows for nudity of all time.
Right
and
on.
Speaking of that, I got to say, right behind it, not a show that I stuck with, but I got to say The Affair, when I went back and looked at their 5 season of nudity, they just finished, that also ended while we were gone. They had their 11th episode of the 5th season. I went back and looked, and, not only did Maura Tierney and Ruth Wilson, 2 of the female leads from the show, do a lot of nice nude scenes, but they had like Phoebe Tonkin in a great nude scene, Kelly Dedman, unbelievable stuff, Emily Browning. There were a lot of great nude scenes over the 5 seasons of The Affair, and that wrapped up, and fittingly, with Maura Tierney having sex with Dominic West, Noah, and another show we're going to miss that for nudity, like I said, the first season I was like pretty fascinated with it. I kind of faded in season 2, and then I was gone. But the nudity, loved it all 5 seasons. It was great.
Right on, yeah, with you on that. Good nudity kind of lost me on the plot and all that. The storyline.
Yeah, that was a Showtime. That was a Showtime. So The Affair's done 5 seasons, and but like it will go down as one of the best shows for nudity of all time. Now, there's also 2 shows from Epix I want to mention because they've been on a roll lately. One is called Get Shorty, which, and by the way, Epix, this always is when people ask me, like, or we get emails like, how do you guys find these Epix? Like, where do I get Epix? It just depends what platform you have. Some platforms, your cable provider, direct you, whatever you have. Some platforms have Epix. If you don't have it, you could go and get it as a standalone subscription, these shows. But Get Shorty will definitely make you get longy because the nudity this season, and they're in their 3rd season, they had their 4th episode. Not super famous girl, I don't even know how to pronounce this name, Seychelle Gabriel, showed breasts and butt in episode 4, but they've had a nice season so far. And by the way, this one, Get Shorty, there was a movie from 1995 with Gene Hackman, John Travolta, and Rene Russo. Right. And then this one has Chris O'Dowd starring in it, but they each did their take on the whole Elmer Leonard Get Shorty book. But this one, luckily, this season has been really good for nudity, and I wanted to throw out a shout out to Get Shorty here. But then the other show from Epix that we're really getting into is Godfather of Harlem. Oh, which, yeah, I've talked to you about this one. This is the one where Bumpy Johnson, played by Forrest Whitaker, is he's like the big mobster in Brooklyn. Okay, and the episode 6 had this really great nude scene again. So they've had a number of episodes with great nude scenes. The 7th one from last night did not, but I haven't talked to you. But the 6th one was really, really good. And this Bumpy Johnson is this gangster played by Forrest Whitaker, and lots of people have been, emailing us and saying that they're digging this show. I guess I haven't watched it yet, but I guess it's getting pretty good reviews too, and some really good nudity. So Epix with 2 shows that are really, really solid, which is great for us. We're always excited when new shows come on and have great nudity. So
yeah, and bonus that people are actually liking the shows, generally speaking. So that means they're actually watchable as well.
Yeah, no, it's good. And and then another show, I was listening to Howard Stern's show, and I heard Robin mention she really loves a show on Hulu called Castle Rock. Okay. And Castle Rock is this fictional town. It's based on these Stephen King, the novel, is based on his horror stories. Yeah. And it's funny because I haven't watched it, and But I knew about it. I just haven't watched it. And from a nudity standpoint, like season 1 was just like Mr. Man nudity. We didn't have any Mr. Skin nudity. So I was pretty psyched. Now, this is a Hulu original show, Castle Rock, and their second episode of the second season. And by the way, Hulu releases things weekly, not like how Netflix will release the whole season, Right. And we got a good topless scene from Rosemary Quinlan and there was an uncredited topless pole dancer. But what I'm saying is I'm excited because season 1 had Melanie Linsky, who I'm a big fan of. She's done some nice nude scenes in her career, but she was not naked in season 1, nor did they have female nudity. But now season 2 has Lizzie Kaplan, who we love from Masters of Sex and True Blood. Oh, yeah. And Tim Robbins, who's obviously a famous actor. So kind of like, oh man, if you got Lizzie Kaplan in it, I'd love to see more. And anyway, they're in their second episodes of the second season and a really nice nude scene, and we're hopeful that it won't go the route of the first season where it was only male nudity. So Absolutely. We'll get more female nudity. So
yes, please.
Do you know? Have you heard about that show? Have you heard anyone talk? I mean, I've heard
the Castle
like
Rock
I said,
show.
Yeah.
No, not really. But I'm a huge Stephen King fan, so
maybe you'd like this.
Just generally speaking, I like one of my favorite authors growing up. So anything that he does, I pretty much like. I never really loved the translation from book to screen with his stuff, but I'll take it, Yeah. So anyway, Castle Rock, Hulu, cool show. We're happy about nudity in season 2. Now, I got some shows for you, Andrea, from our Skinternational division. And when I was going over this with Joey, my head of content, before doing this podcast, I was like, Joey, what the hell? There's like all these. I was like debating like which ones to talk about, but I just I'll group these because there's like good problem to have.
Well, there's so many foreign shows that feature great nude scenes that show up on Netflix, and we go through them and we're like, holy geez, who are these girls? Because they're not American actresses that we know, and a lot of them are newcomers. But for instance, let me start with Netflix, and all of these are Netflix shows, and all of these are from foreign countries. All of these are available to any of us who have a Netflix account. But just to give you an idea, like why Netflix is by far the platform with the most shows with nudity. So, all right, Wild District. Probably never heard of it. It's they released the second season. It's a Colombian Netflix series, and it's about a guy who's a guerrilla fighter trying to fit back into civilian life. Kind of reminds me of that show Quarry from a few years ago about a Vietnam vet trying to fit back into civilian life. But anyway, just some really nice nude scenes. And again, there won't be names you'd know, Andrea, but Camila Soto and Tata Ariza.
Ooh, that's
Tata
a cute
has
name.
some nice tatas, yes.
Yes.
And some really nice nude scenes in episode 8 especially. And there's a little girl making out at a bar, and they drunkenly arrive back home. And I guess I think, so this is a Colombian show. Yeah, so it's just really sexy stuff. And these shows from other countries, they have a little, just a different way of presenting the content. The sex scenes are very original, and it's really cool. So there's Wild District, this Colombian show, good nudity. Then I see a show called Ad Vitam. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I have no idea. It's a French show.
Okay.
And it's set. It's like a sci-fi show. It's set in the future where regeneration technology lets humans live indefinitely, is what it's supposedly about. So I go and watch the clips, and this Garance Mariller is she's in a tank with a breathing apparatus, topless in the tank, and all these guys are standing around, and all of a sudden this guy starts. Now she's in a tank of water with a breathing apparatus, topless, and all of a sudden this guy starts shooting at her.
Oh no!
But you could regenerate. That's the whole point. So she didn't die.
Right.
But Garance Merrier, I think is how we're pronouncing it. But great nudity in that. This Anne Uzule also had a really sexy scene. But again, show from France. No, not something you would probably have heard about, but there it is right on the Netflix new releases. And season 1 had some really nice nudity, brand new show. And then,
oh yeah.
I always forget about the Wheel of Skin, but CP never does. So if you don't know what this part of the show is, this is where CP, my EP, spins the big Wheel of Skin here at MrSkin.com. We have over 30,000 actresses, all the skinfo on all of them. And I, of course, am Pat Say Jack Off. You are
Vagina White.
Yes, and this is a Merck and Griffin production. And this is a real fun part of the show because he pulls a name out of his big wheel there, and I could give you a little skin information on her. And he does his homework, make sure that he pulls out someone good. But I've never been disappointed. So CP, go ahead and spin the wheel and see what you come up with.
And we have Sofia Vergara.
Oh, okay. Andrea, I don't have to tell you who she is.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a question. Has Gloria from Modern Family, which is finally wrapping up after all these years, has Gloria ever done a nude scene?
No.
Well, I have some interesting news for you. It's
no way. I would bet money she has not.
Well, it's not from a movie, but it's something pretty cool. And I'll tell you, like with her. So Modern Family started in 2009, and naturally, like I was really into her because that's right up my alley. Full figured, big natural boobies. So I was into her. There was a movie in 2003, like 16 years ago, called Chasing Papi. It had Rosalind Sanchez, this J.C. Vasquez, and Sofia Vergara.
Okay.
I didn't know who Sofia Vergara was. And all three of these girls are trying to hook up with this guy, Papi. And it's a comedy and they run into each other. But there's one scene where all three of the girls come out of doors in lingerie. And I remember Sofia Vergara was in the middle, and I was like, who the hell is that? But she was an unknown actress at the time, but she had huge boobs and they were real and all this. So then Modern Family hits and she becomes a huge, huge star. But one of the great things about when you become famous is a lot of times you do things in your past, Andrea.
Oh, yes.
As you could relate to.
Boy, do I know.
You do things, and especially modeling, where you may have thought, hey, I needed some money, or I'm going to do this, who's going to see it, whatever. That tends to come back and I don't want to say bite you in the ass, but shows your ass. And she was a great example. So right after Modern Family became famous, we discovered, and I can't even remember how I discovered it. I mean, it would have come out anyway, but we discovered something that was really cool. She was a model in Colombia. Uh-huh. And I'm not even sure if this was in Colombia, but it was definitely with all, Hispanic crew, and it was filmed somewhere in Latin America. I don't know where it was, but she's filming this Sofia Vergara calendar back in, like, she had it was like, picture the like when they do the Sports Illustrated swimsuit and they'll film them doing that. Well, she was kind of doing this in 2000, a long time ago. She was an up and coming model. There's all these Spanish speaking dudes around. It was all like, they were just doing some modeling shoot, but they filmed it, and it's not the greatest. It's not the greatest quality, but it's Sofia Vergara in a thong and just holding her boobs like a hand bra throughout. And they did one for 2000. They also did one for 2002. So it's like Sofia Vergara, the making of this Sofia Vergara calendar. We have that at MrSkin.com. It's really amazing. The thong stuff is like,
epic.
It's basically whole ass.
Oh my God.
And
her on the sand? Are you
how
joking?
Great is that? Yeah,
Dude.
It's really awesome.
And I'd like to know who that towel boy is and how you apply for that job.
There was a scene in there. Yeah. I remember there's a scene where she's laying down on her stomach. He has to put a towel like under her vagina so that it's not getting sand in it and stuff. And his face is like 2 inches from her ass. It's like the greatest job ever. And his hand is probably touching
her poon. Let's be real.
And then there's a gorilla dude in there that's cupping her boobs, and then she has her hands on her boobs, and as you can imagine, nobody's hands are big enough to really cover her boobs. So it's just really sexy, and it's not from a movie or television show, but it's still an actual video from Colombia or wherever it was from. We got it for the website. If you haven't seen it, please check it out. The making of the Sofia Vergara calendar from 2000-2002. It's awesome.
So I've known who Sofia Vergara was from this era because when I was in college, one of my roommates who was a guy had this calendar. Not even joking. And I remember looking at her and being like, this bitch is so fucking hot. Like, I was jealous. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Her body's ridiculous. Dude, her body's ridiculous.
And I was just like, whatever. She's just some ding dong model. Lo and behold, fast forward 12 years. I'm like, damn,
highest paid.
She really did the damn thing and blew up. And at that
one
level,
of the highest paid TV stars at some point.
Exactly. So, and at that level, having the maturity to be happy for someone with success. But before, I'm telling you, I was jealous of her skin because that natural butt, those natural boobs, that beautiful face. I mean, she really is a stunning woman on every level from every angle. Yeah. So
no, I'm with you. But great. Great wheel of skin pull. Yeah. No pun intended. It's right. Yeah. So CP just hit me up and said she was the highest paid actress in television. In 2016, she brought in $43 million.
That's a little crazy, but go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, so great spin. I loved Sofia Vergara. I'm happy to share that. And I love that you didn't know about that because that's always cool.
Blew my mind.
Yeah, so we were going through the Skin International thing real quick. I'll go through. There's a show called Brotherhood. I think this is a Brazilian Netflix drama about this lawyer that discovers her missing brother's been jailed for years, and he's the leader of a criminal faction in jail. And it was like, okay, let's check this out. We went through season 1, saw some awesome nudity from a couple of actresses. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names, but trust me, the nudity is really sexy. That was from Netflix. And then there's another show called, television show they released first season, brand new, called Monzon, a Knockout Blow. Whatever the hell that's about. It's about, I know there was an Argentinian boxer named Carlos Monzon, and he killed his wife. He got life in prison. So this is must be from Argentina, this show. And we go through that. Tons of great sex and nudity. I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you need a website, you need a team of people to go through all this stuff. There's just so much nudity. And like I said, this just shows up in the Netflix new releases, and we just go through it like everyone else. We don't know when we go through that we're going to find this, and just great nudity from this show about this Carlos Monzon, the Argentinian boxer, which again looks like a cool show. I can tell you the nudity's awesome, but it just shows you how much stuff we have to keep up on. It's really amazing.
I mean, I don't even know how to keep up with this one set of gargantuan breasts that I'm looking at. This is incredible nudity in this show.
Yeah, isn't that great? Look at those pics. Yeah. So, last but not least, Andrea, I did want to mention that and this is interesting because I had no idea that I went and checked out how to find this, and it blew my mind. But there's a new show. Do you know what Facebook Watch is? Does that? They have original programming.
So glad that I don't.
There's a new show called Limetown, and I'll tell you, it's very juicy, Limetown, because the problem is finding it. And I was talking to Joey before I came on. I go, Joey, I'm on Facebook. Where the hell do you see this stuff? Yeah. And so if you go to like Facebook/ Watch? Yeah, Facebook/ Watch. They have all their videos, but then it's weird how they do it because they don't promote it, in my opinion, real well. But the show's based on a podcast, and it stars Jessica Biel.
I love her.
And well, look at this picture of her just in her underwear. And I'm like, I didn't expect, I didn't even know. I knew, I've heard of Limetown, and then there's this other Netflix watch show called Sorry for Your Loss with Elizabeth Olsen. I just didn't know how to find the stuff. And if you go to this, where you watch all the videos on Facebook, they just all of a sudden have a thing that says original programming, and then you scroll through. A lot of the shows are like teeny bopper shows, but this show, Limetown and Sorry for Your Loss, I don't know if we're going to get nudity because neither has yet, but look at Jessica Biel in her underwear. That's a fantastic scene. How's that body? I would take
Jessica Biel in a potato sack. So the fact that I'm getting her in a nude bra and these cute little undies in some sort of weird bathroom looking thing from the side, from the front, in this really showing light, I'm all about it. And her body is looking
it's one of the best bodies in movies or television. It reminds me a couple of years back, she did this movie with Adam Sandler called I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, where she was in her underwear, and it was like, come on already, get naked. And she did the movie Powder Blue in 2009, where she did a strip tease up on stage about an hour and 8 minutes in. That I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite nude scenes because it's someone that doesn't get naked, obviously has an incredible body, as you could see from this Limetown pic from episode 5. And anyway, it's fantastic. And then she also did, don't forget, a couple of years ago, she did this, I think it was for the USA Network, called The Sinner.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Remember when she did that shower scene?
Yes.
Where she was, after a murder, they were getting all the blood off her, and you could see like most of her butt in the shower, and this is one of the great butts of all time. So anyway, so if you go to Facebook/watch
I'm probably not
and
doing
you scroll, I know, it's the weirdest thing, and all of a sudden you'll be like, whoa, they just, because you don't have to pay extra for this or anything, and it's just original programming from Facebook, and looking like, and they release it on a weekly basis. It's not like you get the whole season. And no nudity yet, but Jessica Biel in her underwear, I'm there, and I wanted to wrap up with that because that was pretty incredible.
Yeah, because it doesn't get better than that. Jessica Biel, even in underwear, and we know this from time and time again, where she's just on screen in underwear, is still better than half of these girls totally naked. I'm loving this, and I couldn't agree what a better note to end on than Jessica Biel. And probably I won't be able to find it with all the backslashes and the clicking and
just come to MrSkin.com. If you can't find it, just come to MrSkin.com.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it was a lot to catch up on today, and so much more. And I'm already starting working, Andrea, on my top 10 nude scenes of 2019. And the hard part is the same thing I face every year, where it's like there's fights about what should be in and what shouldn't be, and I of course get the final say, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, we're working on that. It was an amazing year in nudity, and we'll be talking about that in the next couple of weeks or so.
Looking forward to that. Very exciting. All right, well, thanks for another epic show, and we'll talk next week.
You got it, Andrew. Take care.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.